This week, we're giving attention to strengthening the holding environment, the foundation of the practice. We're building our practice from the ground up, just as the Buddha did, setting up the domain of the body and its breathing, and now the heart-mind, the attitude and the quality of attention itself. Yesterday, we oriented the heart's attitude of care towards care, and today we're going to orient the mind, the attentional posture of mindfulness. When I sit down to meditate, usually it's me who takes a seat with my needs and my preferences and my complaints. If we're tired, cranky, upset, preoccupied, that is how our meditation practice will be. And then we mutter to ourselves or judge ourselves because it's not enough. The practice isn't working. We don't know how to meditate. In other words, we don't give deliberate attention to how we are coming to the cushion or how we go about our day. And we don't give deliberate attention to how we arrange ourselves on the cushion, and less so off the cushion. Most of the time, we don't even consider this sitting down to be part of the meditation itself. We tend to want to skip over we want to skip over the intro classes and get to the graduate seminars. We tend to gloss over basic instructions in favor of the more juicy parts, the insights, the wisdom teachings. This is our cultural habit. We want fast answers and quick fixes. Mindfulness is all about process, not content, not time. So Bill and I are inviting you to take a closer look at the importance of this setup, each part of it. This will keep us safe. This will also ensure that our practice will organically unfold. We can't force anything. We can't manufacture feelings, but we can set up the conditions, and that's worth our caring attention. It's surprising to me how little attention has been given to the first instruction, this setting up of the foundation. This is how we'll weather the storms. This is the Buddha's first piece of guidance, though pith. The instructions were pith. He said, go to a quiet place, sit down cross-legged, spine erect, and set mindfulness to the fore. In other words, construct your practice. Set up the body, sit down cross-legged, spine erect, set it up so it's awake and alert, and set up the heart-mind. Attune the heart and the mind to caring attention that's oriented toward non-harm. But let's unpack this pith instruction. It's simple yet profound. This initial step is not to be overlooked. It took me many, many years to see the difference for myself, the difference between my own personal view when I sat down to meditate and the view from the lens of mindfulness. This is only one of a number of small steps that we tend to overlook when setting up our practice. But the view, the outlook, the lens out of which we peer is critical to determining whether mindfulness or our ego grows. If we just sit down out of our own view, then when difficulties arise, we're likely to react out of habit, whatever our habit is, or out of the mood that we're in. We may or may not want to, or be able to clearly see what is going on, or able to offer what kind of caring attention is needed. If we are feeling guilty, we may, knowingly or unknowingly, keep it going out of habit, out of feeling we deserve it. I know that one really well. If we're enjoying a daydream, we may or may not see that we're daydreaming, or we may see no reason to pull back from its seemingly innocuous mind state. If we're planning or analyzing, we may yield to them because they seem productive, interesting. The self cannot be trusted to even-handedly monitor or carefully attend to itself without getting lost in its own agenda. This is not a personal flaw. It's the habit of the human mind. Okay, so if this is our universal starting point, then how do we move to a mindful view? How do I move out of this self view and into a mindful view? I would suggest it's a continuum. But then also I would suggest, what do I mean when I say mindfulness? That word is thrown around a lot right now in modern culture. So what do I mean? Well, mindfulness, my definition, is a non-judgmental, non-self-referential posture of caring attention to the experience of well-being in the present moment. A non-judgmental, non-self-referential posture of caring attention to the experience of well-being in the present moment. For me, this describes a posture of caring attention that is definitely not me, not Susan Morgan. She is judgmental and biased in all kinds of ways. She's the protagonist of her story with a vested interest in her successes and failures. Mindfulness doesn't care about building Susan's ego. Mindfulness is interested that Susan be seen and felt for who and what she is, and for how she relates to herself, to others, and the world. Mindfulness is interested in the welfare and well-being of all, myself and others. Now let's break this definition of mindfulness down that I've constructed. Mindfulness is non-judgmental. What a relief to be able to experience something without being judged. This is the ideal situation, isn't it? This is what we hope for. This is what I hope for when I bring a difficult situation to a dear friend or to a wise elder. I hope that they will look non-judgmentally at what is happening and help me discern what to do. Mindfulness is non-self-referential. It assumes a posture of other, as if a caring presence were seeing and feeling what Susan is doing and feeling and thinking. From this vantage point, from which we gain a healthy distance of perspective, I'm able to see myself and see what and how I'm relating to whatever it is I'm attending to, whether it's my own internal experience or whether I'm relating to something outside here. Mindfulness caringly attends. The heart and the mind together, united, chitta, operate together. They attune and attend, orient towards less stress and more ease of well-being. Again, Susan may not want to do this, but a non-judgmental, non-self-referential, wise posture of caring attention would. Someone who cares about me would. This is a fundamental shift in perspective. It will not necessarily arise on its own. If we meditate out of our view, we have assumed authority for our practice, and we are apt to deem it or us as successful or not. We'll judge it. This is one way practice stagnates, when the self co-opts the practice. But stepping out of Susan and assuming a mindful posture, a less identified, more accepting view of reality, as if a caring elder is watching over and saying, Susan, what's going on here? What's going on here, Susan? Let's look from the perspective of non-harm. Let's look at from the perspective of your well-being and this other person's well-being. Look with those eyes. That's mindfulness. That's mindfulness. If I'm sitting with a wise elder or a respected friend and I'm in a state, how are they going to relate to me? What might they say? What might they do to orient me towards non-harm, towards kindness, towards less suffering. We may not know exactly what to do, but posing the question invites this perspective. Just pose the question. Be curious. That's good enough. The process of change has begun just by inviting that line of inquiry in. Appreciate that. Practice conditions this in. And we're going to get lots of opportunities to practice shifting out of our view, because every time the mind wanders away, we've shifted into our view. So we notice when the mind wanders away, whoop, look at that. I'm back in worry. Susan Morgan is back in worry. Identify worry. Put a big mindfulness star there. Take a breath. Come on back in and smooth it out. Adjust that view as if my uncle, as if my mother, as if a dear friend, as if I am sitting in nature and holding this moment, allowing that moment to ripple through and looking at it kindly, caringly, adjusting till things settle back and we can feel a sense of stability again. The holding environment is a foundation of stability that gives us the possibility of seeing clearly. Okay? So the brilliance of the practice is that it is teaching us how to step out of our perspective and into this new perspective of relating to ourselves and the world.